Okay, Wildcats. Today we're looking at Friday, February 23rd, solving rational equations on page 59. If you would, update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at the notes. All right, solve rational equations on page 59. Solving rational equation steps. Step 1, multiply each term by the common denominator. Step 2, divide out common factors. Step 3, simplify. Step 4, solve the equation. Now, step 4, it branches two directions. So if you end up with something that's linear, step 5 will be that you have the variables on one side and the number on the other side. Then step 6, check for extraneous solutions. Okay. Now, if it's quadratic, then you're going to move everything to the left side. So you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And then you're going to factor or solve using the quadratic formula. Then you set each factor equal to 0 and solve. In step 8, you check for extraneous solutions. So depending on if you end up linear or quadratic, your steps are different. Okay. All right. So with that, if you would update your notes. All right. Now your notes are updated. Let's take a look at the examples. All right. Example number 1. Okay, so it looks like here we multiply each term by the common denominator. So in this case, the common denominator is x. And I'm actually going to put a 1 in front of the x's. So now we multiply everything by 1x. So 1x times 1x is 1x squared. 1x times 8 is 8x divided by x equals 6 times x is 6x. Okay. Now we divide out common factors. Well, x divided by x is 1. So we're left with 1x squared plus 1x squared plus 8 equals 6x. So we subtract 6x from both sides. So we have 1x squared minus 6x plus 8 equal to 0. All right. And one of the things I recommend doing before you go even further is I'm going to draw a line about here all the way down. So that way you force yourself to leave yourself space to check, okay? All right. So now here we factor. And if we can't factor, then we use quadratic formula. But you always want to see if it factors. Okay? So we know x and x. And then we look at all the combinations to make 8 and negative 6. So we know that negative 1 times negative 8, negative 2 times negative 4. Well, negative 2 times negative 4 gives us negative 6. So our factors are x minus 2, x minus 4. So we set them equal to 0. So x minus 2 equal to 0. X minus 4 equal to 0. So x equals 2 and x equals 4. Okay, at this point we want to check. So let's check x equals 2 first. So you have 2 plus 8 divided by 2 equals 6. Well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So 6 equals 6. So x equals 2 is a solution. Okay, now let's check x equals 4. So that's 2 plus 8 divided by 4 equals 6. So 8 divided by 4 is, wait a second, let's see, this should be a 4, sorry. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, 2 plus 4 is 6, so 6 equals 6, so it checks. So x equals 4 is a solution. All right, so now let's move to example 2. And again, before I even do anything else, I'm going to draw a line all the way down just to give yourself space to check. Okay. All right, so we multiply everything by the common denominator, which in this case is x minus 3. So then that's 3x times x minus 3 divided by x minus 3 1 second. There's someone at the door. While I'm doing that, if you would continue to multiply x minus 3. All right. Sorry, someone needed my key to unlock a door. All right. Now, so now that's 2x plus 3 times x minus 3 . All right. So then here, divide the x minus 3's and make them 1 while you're waiting for me to get my key back. All right. Sorry for the interruption. So this becomes 1. This becomes 1. So you're left with 3x equals 2x plus 3. Okay. So now we're at linear. So basically you move the x's to one side, keep the number on the other. So we subtract 2x from both sides. We get 1x equals 3. Okay. So now we check. So then that's 3 times 3 divided by 3 minus 3 equals 2 times 3 plus 3 divided by 3 minus 3. So then you get 9 divided by 0 equals 9 divided by 0, which is true, but since that's an undefined, since 9 divided by 0 is undefined, we can say that x equals 3 is an extraneous solution. All right, so now let's look at example 3. All right, so when you want to find the common denominator, you basically just multiply the denominators together. So in this case, you're going to multiply, the common denominator is 2 times x minus 7. Okay? So we're going to multiply everything through by that. So that's 2x plus 9 times 2x minus 7 plus x times 2x minus 7 equals 2 times 5 is 10, so that's 10x minus 7. Okay, so then, oh, almost forgot, that's divided by x minus 7. That's divided by 2, and then that's divided by x minus 7. So now we divide out common factors. So this becomes 1, this becomes 1, this becomes 1. So now we're left with 2 times that. So 2 times 2x is 4x, plus 2 times 9 is 18, plus x times x is x squared, x times negative 7 is negative 7x, equal to 10. So now we see they're quadratic, so we need to move everything to the left side and put it in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we subtract 10 from both sides, and we're left with 1x squared and I think I made a clerical error. Don't know how that became a plus sign, but that's actually a minus sign, which I'm glad I caught now, because that would just cause a whole bunch of mess. All right, and then 4x minus 7x is negative 3x, and then we subtract 10, so negative 18 minus 10 is negative 28 equals 0. Now at this point we're going to try to factor. All right, so we know x and x. Now we look for all the combinations negative 28. So 1 times negative 28, 2 times negative 14, 3 times, doesn't work I don't think, so 4 times negative 7 works. And in this case that gives you negative 3, so our factors are x plus 4, x minus 7. Set them equal to 0, so you have x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 7 equal to 0. So x equals negative 4 and x equals 7. So now let's check. So let's check x equals negative 4 first. It's 2 times negative 4 minus 9 divided by negative 4 minus 7 minus 4 divided by 2 equals 5 divided by negative 4 minus 7. All right, at this point I would just plug into the calculator. I would do the left side first and then the right side. So the left side equals negative 5 divided by 11. And wouldn't you know it, that equals negative 5 divided by 11. So it checks. So x equals negative 4 is the solution. Okay, so now let's check x equals 7. So then that's 2 times 7 minus 9 divided by 7 minus 7 plus 7 divided by 2 equals 5 divided by 7 minus 7. Now here's the thing. 7 minus 7, 0 leaves you basically a number over 0, which is undefined. So this does not check. And so we'd say that this is an extraneous solution. All right, so now let's take a look at example 4. Now, here, it's important to note that x squared minus 16 can be written as x minus 4 times x plus 4. Okay? So that means we're going to multiply both sides by x minus 4 times x plus 4. So then that's 16 times x minus 4 times x plus 4. And we've already stated that x squared minus 16 is x minus 4 times x plus 4 equals 2 times x minus 4 x plus 4 divided by x minus 4. All right, now you're going to divide out common factors, so that becomes 1, 1, 1. So you're left with 16 equals 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 4 is 8. So you're at the linear route, so you want to move the x's on one side and numbers on the other. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So you get 16 minus 8 is 8 equals 2x divided by 2. X equals 4. I'm going to check the solution. So that's 16 divided by 4 squared minus 16 equals 2 divided by 4 minus 4, which is 16 divided by 0 equal to 2 divided by 0. So that's both undefined and not equal. So x equals 4 is an extraneous solution. All right, now let's take a look at example 5. Wow, example 5 looks fun. All right, so what you have to do first is kind of figure out what this factors to be. And so you think about what combination makes 10 and negative 7, and that is negative 5 and negative 2. And let me write that better so you can see it. I might just have to, you know what, I'm just going to have to sacrifice a line of work so you can see, but this is x minus 5, x minus 2. Okay, so because of that, we're going to multiply both sides by x minus 5 and x minus 2. Okay, so then that's 1 times x minus 5, x minus 2, divided by x minus 2, plus x minus 5, x minus 2, divided by x minus 5, x minus 2, equals, and I think I'm just going to have to steal space from this. I'm going to have to find a way to check, equals 6 times x minus 5, x minus 2, divided by x minus 2. So this becomes 1, 1, 1, 1. So you're left with 1x minus 5 plus 1 equals 6x minus 30. All right, so you want to move the x's to one side in the numbers, but first we can combine. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. So 1x minus 4 equals 6x minus 30. So let's subtract 1x from both sides and add 30 to both sides. So then that becomes 0, that becomes 26, that becomes 5x. I don't like where this is coming out, but divide both sides by 5. Let's see if 26 divided by 5 is a nice fraction. It is. X equals 5.2. Now, for checking, if you're limited in space, I would accept doing it this way. Use your calculator. So I'm going to do 1. I'm going to do control divide 1 divided by 5.2 minus 2 plus control divide 1, 5.2 squared minus 7 times 5.2 plus 10 equals, well, press enter, and then 6, or control divide 6 divided by 5.2 minus 2, and you can see that the left side equals the right side, so it checks. So I would accept you writing this 1.875 equals 1.875. So it checks. So x equals 5.2 checks. All right, let's take a look at example 6, which looks exciting as well. Wow. All right, so again, you want to look at what x squared plus x can factor to be. And so if you factor out an x, you're left with x times x plus 1. And so that's going to be your common denominator. You're going to multiply everything times x plus 1. So I think we're going to, this is kind of long, we're going to have to lose some checking space. And we might have to check it the same way as example 5. So then that's x plus 5 times x plus 1 equals 1 times x plus 1. I almost forgot, this is divided by, and you're not going to want to write x squared plus x. You want to write it as x times x plus 1. And this is, again, x plus 1 minus x minus 6 times x plus 1 divided by x plus 1. All right, so this becomes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So you're left with 1x plus 5 equals 1. Now you're going to multiply by negative x. So negative x times x is minus x squared, and then negative x times 6 is a positive 6x. All right, so you're going to want to add x to both sides. So you're left with 1x squared. You want to subtract 6x from both sides. So 1x minus 6x is negative 5x. And then you want to subtract 1 from both sides. So then that's 5 minus 1 is plus 4 equals 0. Okay. So this might be enough room to do our check. All right, so again, we want to hopefully factor. So we know x and x, and we want to find all the combinations make 4 to make negative 5. So negative 1 times negative 4, and that's it. That's our combination. So x minus 1, x minus 4. So set x minus 1 equal to 0, and x minus 4 equal to 0. So x equals 1, x equals 4. So let's check. X equals 1. And again, I would probably check using the calculator. So let's clear out the previous problem. So then control divide 1 plus 5 divided by 1 squared plus 1. So that's 3. And now we check the right side. So control divide 1 divided by 1 squared plus 1 minus control divide 1 minus 6, 1 plus 1. So 3 equals 3, so that checks. And then x equals 4. Let's check that. So let's clear that one out. So we do control divide 4 plus 5 divided by 4 squared plus 4. Okay, and then control divide 1 divided by 4 squared plus 4 minus control divide 4 minus 6 divided by 4 plus 1. I know the anticipation is building. You're like, is it going to work? And it does. So they both check. So 9 divided by 20 equals 9 divided by 20. So they check. So they're both the solution. All right. So at this point, you can start the assignment on your own or wait till class and we'll start working on the assignment together. Okay, either way, have a wonderful Wildcat day.